Here we are, guys. Episode 2 of my warrior playthrough here in Dawn of the Hunt, and I'm going to do this episode a little bit different. I want to do kind of a walk and talk episode. Since the last one, I've actually done a few things different, guys. I'm admittedly still here in the campaign, but I've got a good reason for it. I really wanted to actually play a bit of a different build. I want to go on a bit of a pivot, and instead of doing Smith of Catawba, which looks extremely fun, don't get me wrong, I wanted to do Bleed and Thorns with a Warbringer. So I re-rolled. I'm now here at level 54 or level 52 playing through Cruel. So I'm technically more advanced than I was in the previous video. But we are now a Warbringer and we are doing Thorns. So we are bleeding. We are using still using Rapid Assault because it is a absolutely great weapon for applying Thorns and Bleed. And so the idea here is that we take advantage of a couple of skills, support gems specifically, called Quill Burst and Barbs. And what those do is they allow you, once you've been hit and retaliate with Thorns, they empower your next few attacks to do the Thorns damage when you attack. So not only are you damaging when you take damage with your Thorns, you also then can attack and do the same damage with your Thorns again. So the idea then is that we take advantage of that. Thorns, of course, being physical, unless it's specifically a elemental type of Thorns damage, is a perfect candidate damage type for Bleed. And I really wanted to try a Bleed build last league, but it wasn't really in a good spot for those kinds of builds. The game wasn't in a good spot for those kinds of builds, so didn't really get a chance to do that, but I think it's in a great spot this time around. It's been super fun to play so far leveling. I just switched over from kind of the leveling skill setup, which was using Rake for a long time, to using Rapid Assault instead. And the thing that determined when I was going to make that switch was when I finally picked up these two support gems, Quill Burst and Barbs. They're both level 3 supports, and so until you get them, I don't think Rapid Assault is the best skill to use, because you kind of want something that does deal more damage than Rapid Assault and has more guaranteed bleed. And so Rake seemed like the better choice early game for that. But now that we have the ability to proc our Thorns damage with our attack, Rapid Assault seems like the clear winner to me because it just has such fast attack speed and it delivers those Thorns damage, really quick, rapidly, so to speak. So let me show you the tree real quick and to kind of show you what we've done so far. Like I said, we're level 52 now, and so when we first started the playthrough, we kind of came up north here, immediately going to pick up the flat base critical strike chance for Thorns. This in conjunction with the Briar Patch boots, which got a buff this league, make this base crit chance starting out at 31%, which is huge. If you can corrupt this, you can corrupt it over 30% just on the boots itself. So that's definitely the goal at the end. The next piece of gear that you pick up, I believe at level 16, is Crown of the Pale King. This makes it so that every hit, not just the melee ones, you can retaliate using Thorns. So the combination of these two together really makes for a good Thorns playthrough. In addition to that, items such as your body armor, shield, and belt all received massive buffs to their Thorns damage rolls. Like the ranges are much higher now this league than they were last, and so that just really makes the Thorns playstyle much more viable than it was at the beginning of the game. So once we picked up these nodes up here, the crit nodes, I started picking up these critical hit chance nodes to increase the critical hit chance, and then also prioritized coming down here all the way to the leech nodes, because we also now have Thorns damage leeched as life, which is awesome for our survivability. Helps us really sustain and not die to damage. So that was priority number 2. After that, I prioritized attack speed here, finishing up the blue nodes up here for crit. Let me hover over these real quick if I can. Yeah, crit damage bonus. Prioritize the hit chance on the left side first, damage secondary, because if you're not hit critting, then the damage doesn't mean anything. And then after that, I came back down here, over here to the bleed nodes, because I wanted to increase the chance to bleed, specifically for my Thorns damage. Thorns is classified as a hit, and so it is affected by things like this, where you have on-hit effects. And so because of that, we can benefit from nodes like this, where you just get bleed chance on hit. So I picked up these down here. I also picked up this one up here. And the idea is that we're going for chance to bleed as well as magnitude of bleeding. We think that's going to be really strong for just bigger bleeds and more damage, to the enemies. As far as Ascendancy points are concerned, the first one that I did here was actually the armor break, because it just really helps ensure that the enemies take additional phys damage because of the buffs that armor break received this patch. That means when armor is fully broken, they take, I believe it's 20% increased damage, which is a damage multiplier, and so that's really strong. Second and third Ascendancies are going to go here to the flat chance to block is going to be set at 40%. And then Turtle Charm, of course, will be the third one that we pick up here, so that we can block all of our hits, or all of the incoming hits, without having to raise our shield at all, which will be great because Thorns procs off of blocked hits as well as unblocked hits. To support that, we're also picking up Glancing Blows, and then the next couple of points here I'm going to put into Parrying Motion. If you've seen my other builds from the previous league, you'll note that I love this node because it just gives us a lot of move speed if you have a lot of block chance. So you're blocking all the time, you're moving a lot faster. We love that. From here, we're going to also pick up the damage per block chance node. We're going to get this one. We're going to probably have to anoint the other one up here at the top. That's just too far away from our tree to really travel to. And then from there, we're going to spec kind of into the max res nodes over here. I'm considering taking Blood Magic. We'll see about that. Mana's okay for now. But as we get into higher gym levels, it might become an issue. So we're going to spec up here anyways to pick up the max res as well as the Thorns nodes up here. So we might get the Blood Magic as well, just to take care of the mana costs. Other thing I'm looking at too is potentially picking up Vol Pact, just so we have instant leech. I'm not totally sold on this one, but we'll try that out and see how it plays and feels. And then from there, we'll kind of figure it out. I think we're going to probably go down here to get the damage faster node from bleeding. I think that's going to be pretty good. And then I'm also considering going over here to get the increased critical hit chance against bleeding enemies. I feel like that's a no-brainer considering how close we are. And it also, of course, works with Thorns. So that should be pretty good. Looking at our gems real quick. Let me get back into the game here and kind of play a little bit. Looking at our gems, we use Rapid Assault, like I said. The next gem that I'm going to put in here, which I have in the stash, but I don't have on me, is Heavy Swing, just for more physical damage. So we're going to be a pure Fizz build, no elemental damage at all. We have Disengage, because it's a great movement skill, as what we have available in the game here. So we can move around a little bit faster with that. We also have 2 copies of Spear Field. One is to help proc more bleeds, so that's what is down here, supported with Blood in the Eyes, as well as gives us some rage on hit. Or I should say that's this one actually, Lacerate, which gives more bleeding. The second copy gives us rage, so good for things like bossing and just helping get us more attack damage for those kind of incidents, or encounters, I should say. So while we're taking down the boss here, you can see that we have fully broken armor up at the top. That actually plays really well into my next skill, Blood Hunt. So Blood Hunt is one that we can use with the what is it right here, Exploit Weakness, to actually consume our fully broken armor on the enemies, which is good because if we're in a boss fight and we run out of Scavenge Plating stacks, which gives us more thorns and more armor, then we won't get any more of those stacks unless we can re-break the enemy's armor. And the only way we can do that is if we somehow consume the fully broken armor. And so we do that with Blood Hunt, which again is another skill that just is really good for bleeding. And so it made perfect sense to me to put it into the build and use it to help with utility, but also damaging, but it's a really good skill for that. So that's what we do there. Herald of Blood, again, a bleed build. Wanted to use the new skill and see what that's like. So far, I would say it's been pretty great. As you can see here as I'm playing, I'm trying to talk and play at the same time, and the build is, pretty dang tanky. Like, I haven't been really too nervous about dying while doing the video here. So I think it's a really good testament to just how good the skill is. And I don't think I picked up I didn't get the clan thing. I gotta go back find the clan thing. The other thing we do here is Bloodhound Mark. It just is a good thing for a big hit once the enemies have sustained a lot of blood loss. It also helps heavy stun enemies every now and then, so that's good. And then the last thing I'm trying out is Thunderous Leap, because it is the spear version of Leap Slam, and it's just something I wanted to try. Hey guys, Editing Civic here. I wanted to jump in real quick and just give a quick shout out to my inspiration for this build. It's actually a couple of different people. I mean, I'll link their videos for their respective components in the description, of course. But I wanted to call out Wooly Gaming, and then Kaltarok. So Wooly definitely has a good bleed build going with an Amazon, and then Kaltarok is doing good with his version of a Thorns build. And so I wanted to basically combine those two together for my own version of Thorns and Bleeding, because that just seemed like a natural pairing to me. So wanted to give those two guys a shout out. Back to regular episode Civic Dude. So gear. Let's see, we're still definitely leveling the gear, so we're not in-game at all for that. But the idea here is that you want to get as high a flat fizz damage on your spear as you can. Ignore the LE damage with attacks node. That doesn't help us at all here. I just happened to find that, so don't worry about that one. The grants life per enemy hit is actually somewhat relevant, because all of our spear fields count towards that. So that's actually somewhat relevant. The chest is, armor. We are going to go with another reason that I went with Warbringer instead of Smith of Kitava is because of the Thorns roll. We don't have any Thorns nodes or affixes on the Smith of Kitava, and so that really didn't feel right to try and run that. So we're going to make sure and prioritize Thorns on our chest piece, of course. Thorns on the belt, Thorns on the chest, Thorns on the shield. The other cool thing that you'll want to consider, and why I think Warbringer is really the best Ascendancy for this, is because Thorns is a prefix. And with our Ascendancy node that gives our shield a base 40% chance to block, that means that we don't have to try and pick up increased chance to block on our shield, which is also a prefix. And so now we don't have those two mods competing on the same piece of equipment. And so that frees us up to still get life and armor on the shield. Otherwise, we would have had to sacrifice one of those two things. Additionally, like right now, I'm running just these Deathblow unique gloves, specifically because they have Culling Strike. I just found those on the ground and they seem fun, so we're running those. But at the in game, we're going to be using rare gloves, I do believe. There is a glove that has thorns on them, but I'm not sure if I want to use those. I mean, it's a good thing because you can't get thorns on your gloves normally, so definitely worth considering. But I don't know. I kind of want to see how we can do with just a rare pair of gloves instead. And if we need to, we can definitely run those. But I'm gonna start with the rares and see how that goes. Other things. The gear is just basic, good jewelry, good rings, fine resistances, fine stats, things like that. Nothing too special there. And then let's see. I think that's all that I wanted to cover. I hope you guys are enjoying this league. I know that I've seen so many updates come out from Grinding Gear Games in the last week. Like just this whole week has been full of updates and announcements, and it's just been so fantastic. Case in point, here's the new attribute, one of the new attribute runes that they released. So definitely excited to see all the updates that they're putting into the game. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. It was a rough start, sure, but it's been a lot of fun since then. So hopefully you guys are having fun, because I know I am. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure if you did to leave a like. It definitely helps with the algorithm. It definitely helps me stay motivated to make more of these videos. And if you're finding this content enjoyable, consider subscribing. I'd definitely love to see you in the future videos. But until then, take care, and I will see you guys in the next video.